everyone, I'm Becky.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're doing Bickering book reviews. Today we are talking about, and I have to look at the book, Call Down the Hawk. In my mind, the book is called Call the Hawk Down. Which is
wrong.
Which is wrong, which is what I've been calling it since it was announced like a year ago.
And this is the first book in the Dreamer trilogy. I'll just show you it because it's super cute. Yay!
Yes. And it's by Maggie Stiefvater. I listened to it off of Overdrive, who released the book like 4 days early, so I hope Scholastic knew about that.
Well, now they do.
Now they do. Oh, wow. And you were...
I feel like we should keep that under wraps, though. Like, I like the fact that they released it early.
I have never had that happen, so I was like, maybe it was intended to be released early.
Yeah, but they've released, like, other publishers and other books have released the books early.
That is true.
Remember, we've gotten it before it's supposed to be out.
Well, it was just weird because it came out on a Friday, but that's besides the point. So we're talking about Call Down the Hawk. Thank you, Scholastic, even though you didn't give it to us. So I guess just thank you for putting it out in the world. So, it's been a long day.
I think we should just thank Maggie Stiefvater.
Yes.
That's what I think we should do.
Because
it's written by Maggie Stiefvater.
I think I said that. Did I say
you?
that? Anyway, I was so like flummoxed by the title. Because like Raven Boys I could remember.
This is going to be a good video, guys.
Yes.
Oh, and I wore my Raven Cycle shirt because... You've got to.
You've got to. Okay, so this book is about what takes place after The Raven King. So the main link, I guess, to the other book series is Ronan Lynch and his brothers. And Ronan is still trying to basically control being able to be a dreamer. His boyfriend Adam, which, spoiler if you haven't read the other books. I guess I'll put a mark that it is kind of a spoiler to Raven Cycle just because it happens. Adam's at Harvard and they're still trying to have a relationship and they're trying to figure out what that is. But there's like these outside force of people who are trying to kind of track the dreamers. And then there's a new person who's possibly a dreamer named Hennessy who's got a whole kind of mystery. I don't want to give anything away. That's the hard thing. So basically, it's about...
Well, because you're juggling a lot of storylines, too, and so you don't know who knows what from the beginning by the time you get it to the end.
Right. So basically, there's dreamers, there's possibly other dreamers, there's an outside group that is kind of trying to hunt down the dreamers. There is a prophecy involved, and we are watching the brothers Lynch. We get more about Declan and Matthew and like how they are trying to function since their parents are now gone. And there is still this like idea is Ronan creating... a new Cabe's Water, a new world for dreams. That's fair, don't you think?
Yeah.
So, the thing about this book is Maggie Stiefvater is, like, an incredible writer.
She is an incredible writer.
I bet even her, like, professional emails and grocery lists are incredible to read.
And I'm sure there's some snarky fun in there.
I'm sure. I enjoyed this book. I enjoyed this book a lot because I love Ronan. I loved Ronan, from the Raven Cycle, and I was telling Sarah, like, I was excited to see Ronan and Adam together because I read Opal, the little short story that was between the two books, and I was reading it, I'm like, oh, they're so cute together, but you didn't read it.
So I didn't read Opal, and I was like, what is this? Like, where did it come? Like, I was going to get to it eventually. My eyeballs should really just be, like, glazed over with book covers coming through.
Yes.
Because I've been so out of touch with all of it.
Right.
But anyway, no, I didn't realize that Opal happens after Raven King and before Call Down the Hawk. So had I realized that, I probably would have read it, but I didn't. And I think it kind of changed my perspective because this book was definitely not one of my favorites. Yes, the voices are still strong because I feel like Stiefvater, she did that. Like, she made that happen. And I think you can definitely see that she's a great writer. Like,
right.
The way she speaks, the way she writes is just, it's phenomenal.
And everybody's voice is different. And everybody has, like, a strong characterization. And it's, like, it's just, it's a craft. She is using it as a craft. It's another form of art.
But I didn't enjoy this one as much. And I think it could be for a couple of reasons. So when I started Raven Cycle, I read them. And because their voices are so distinct, I have my own kind of idea of what those voices are, and then I try to listen to them. And Will Patton's voice is not Ronan's voice. Like, that's not what I hear when I read it.
See, whereas with me, I'm like, I don't want to any way be involved with the books if it's not Will Patton reading it to me.
I mean, and Will Patton does a really great job. Like, it's a phenomenal audiobook. I just that's not Ronan's voice. Like, that's not what he sounds like in my head. And so it's distracting for me. So I tried to listen to it for this time around, and I think that didn't help. I think that I kind of missed the development of the Adam
Right.
Ronan relationship, which means that I think kind of how the characters interact with each other is really kind of where the beauty of these books comes through. And
Right.
a lot of the storylines in this book are really a lot of them going off on their own independent journeys. Like, they're really not interacting with each other.
And that was part of my problem. Like, I missed the interaction. I missed Gansey. I missed Gansey and Blue, which I was like, okay, well, I know that they're not going to be in there, so I was trying to move on. But I felt like...
See, and I miss Gansey too. And the thing is, Blue was my favorite character from the Raven Cycle series. So I was surprised that, like, I just, like, deep in my heart missed Gansey. I was like, where is Gansey?
Right.
And I get, it's not a story. Like, it's not, like, this isn't the time for him, but, like...
And they might come back.
I miss
Well, so,
him.
and that's the other thing that got me was, like, all of not the advertising, but everything around this book this was a book about the Lynch brothers. And every time you cut to somebody else, I was like, I don't care. And I felt like I thought this was supposed to be, like, Ronan's book, and Ronan's, like, maybe in a third of it.
Yeah. Well, and I think because you want to learn so much more about Declan and Matthew and Adam and Ronan, that when you bring in Farouk or
Farouk Lane. I, like, actually kind of resented when they cut to the Farouk Lane part. So I was like, it's like, just go back. Just go back.
However, Hennessy and her storyline, like, I was all
in.
kept me interested. So there were certain pieces and parts. But to be fair, back in the Raven Cycle series, when they cut to the Grey Warren and
The Grey Mantle, the Grey Man,
Thank you.
and Piper. I remember when she brought on Piper, I was like, eh. But
I'm
then,
like,
but then when I went back and redid it, and that's my other thing, I'm like, I feel like I can't judge this book until we get to the end, because I think the pieces are all going to fit together so beautifully.
And they probably will, because and I also feel like not much happened.
No.
Like, there wasn't much. It was a lot of, like, self-exploration, but it didn't move fast.
But I just feel like where it ended, I'm excited for our next book, but I'm
gonna read it. I mean, it's beautiful.
yeah.
It's beautiful. It's
yeah.
gorgeous. Like, she couldn't have put words together any better.
No. Like I said, it is a craft, it is an art.
And
And I don't think a lot of writers view it that way, but she is crafting this.
yeah.
It is, and it's. I'm not saying crafting like a little craft. I'm saying like a craft, like people who have studied and become like artisans. We should just rate it.
Okay.
So our rating system starts at the top with 5 unicorns. We go down to 2 unicorns. If we don't like it, it's a horse.
I'm at 3 unicorns.
So I'm like fluctuating between a 3 and a 4, and I think I'm only going with a 4 just because I loved the characters so much.
See,
Which
but
is
I still think, like, I can't give it a 4 because, like, this book on its own, like, it just doesn't stand up to a 4 because you don't even get to see Ronan enough to love Ronan.
I know, but I have to do a 4. Just because the writing was so good.
I know. I mean, and the writing is really good, but, like, if it were any other book that was written by any other author, this would be a solid 3.
Probably, but
Wouldn't even be questioned. But I think I have. So I think that I have to give it a 3.
I have to go with 4, just because my gut tells me to. And so that is where we are on the book, which is titled Call Down the Hawk, not Call the Hawk Down.
You just keep saying it
I
like
do.
that. You're still not going to know what the
I'm
book
not.
is
I
called.
had to glance over at the book. And so we'll see you around. Bye.